Setting up the meeting for Facebook Live.
Great.
All right, so good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us live during your lunch hour. My name is Jackie Nunez, and I'm joined here by my colleague, Julia. We both work at the County of San Mateo's Office of Sustainability. Hey, Julia, how's it going?
Hey, Jackie, I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Thanks for joining me today for this hour-long lunchtime session. The first 30 minutes will be in English and the second 30 minutes serán en español. And before we get into today's discussion about San Mateo County's first ever active transportation plan, I wanted to share a little bit about the Office of Sustainability. It's a department of the County of San Mateo that strives to improve the sustainability of the county's operations and the greater community through work in the areas of renewable energy, energy efficiency, resource conservation, alternative transportation, which is what we're talking about today, and reducing the impacts of climate change. So today we're going to be chatting about the county's first ever unincorporated San Mateo County Active Transportation Plan, which is an important part of working towards a more sustainable San Mateo County. And we're especially excited because this is San Mateo County's first ever plan for active transportation for the unincorporated areas of the county. And so, Julia, first things first, what is active transportation?
That's an awesome question, Jackie. Active transportation is basically any human-powered form of transportation. So it could be riding a bicycle, walking, rolling. And it's important to note that while you may not ride a bicycle, generally we're all pedestrians, even if that means walking from where you park your car back to your house. And so this plan is really for everybody.
Great. And so why is the county developing this plan? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So the county is creating this plan so we can make it safer and more comfortable and have better access for people that are walking and biking, for people that are doing that currently, and also to encourage more people to walk and bike in the future.
Great. Julia, can you tell us what areas of the county the plan covers? And also, what do you mean by unincorporated areas of the county?
Really great question again, Jackie. So the plan is focused on these unincorporated areas of San Mateo County. And when we say unincorporated, what we mean is any part of the county that isn't in one of the 20 cities in San Mateo County. So some examples of places of unincorporated areas are North Fair Oaks, right next to Redwood City, and El Granada, which is just north of Half Moon Bay. And in case you didn't know, for everybody listening, the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors acts as the unincorporated areas city council, and offices in the departments in the county of San Mateo, like ours, and like the planning and building department, provide municipal services for these areas.
Great. And so for those of you who are joining us today, where are you joining in from? Tell us in the comments. We want to hear from you. So Julia, tell us a little bit more about how most people are getting around today, and has that been impacted by COVID at all?
Yeah, awesome question, Jackie. So as you can see in the image here, most people are driving to work currently in San Mateo County. And this information is provided by the US Census. So I have to ask, Jackie, did you fill out your census this year?
I sure did. Did you?
I did as well. Love to hear it.
Cool. Well, I hope others did too, because your responses really help us get information to make plans for improvements like these for biking and walking in our communities.
That's such a good point. I also wanted to add that obviously trips to work are only part of the story when we talk about general day-to-day trips. Lots of people are also making trips to places like the supermarket, the park, a friend's place. And a lot of these trips are kind of more local than your trip to work might be. And so they're really great potential walking and biking trips. And definitely during the pandemic, to answer your second question, we've seen a lot more people riding their bikes and walking for recreation and to get around in their neighborhoods. And I'll also add that transportation, walking and biking as modes of transportation are super important means of transportation during the pandemic, given that we're seeing reduced levels of transit service in some places in San Mateo County.
Great. We're seeing some answers coming in the comment sections that folks are joining in from El Granada, Redwood City, West Menlo Park. Thanks for being here today, you all. We really appreciate you joining us. Another question for you all who are joining us. Tell us how you get around in the comments below. Do you walk? Do you bike? Do you take transit? What are the biggest barriers for you in terms of walking and biking for transportation? We also see that we have somebody from Broadmoor joining us today. Hello, Broadmoor. And for those of you who are just joining us now, my name is Jackie and I'm here with my colleague Julia, chatting about the county's first ever active transportation plan for unincorporated areas of San Mateo County. All right, Julia, next question for you. What are the goals and objectives of this plan?
Yeah, so the active transportation plan is really centered around the 5 goals that you'll see here. So allowing people of all ages and abilities to access key destinations by bike or walking, improving safety for those that are walking and biking, providing equitable access to these transportation and mobility investments that we'll be making as a county, increasing the share of people that are walking and biking. So the numbers of people that are walking and biking for their daily trips so that we can reduce traffic congestion and our GHG emissions. And then finally, creating a flexible network of active transportation or walking and biking facilities that can adapt to changes in our transportation system. Just like, for example, accommodating e-scooters, which we've seen in the last few years.
Awesome. It just strikes me that every time I listen to this presentation, I learn something new. So thanks, Julia. Question for you all, which of these goals is most important to you? So of the goals that you see here, which of them are more important to you? We want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments. We are also hearing from folks in Menlo Oaks. Hello, Menlo Oaks, for those of you who are joining us. We're also hearing that one of the barriers to walking and biking in San Mateo is lack of continuity for our bike lanes across jurisdictions. Great, so that's something we'll be touching on today as well.
Great point.
So Julia, can you tell us more about how this plan has been developed?
Absolutely. So we kicked off the planning process in the spring of 2019. And the plan's really been developed in these 3 sort of main phases of work that are based on data analysis and data collection, and then crucially community input. So what we're hearing from you all. We have heard from hundreds of community members at 14 in-person events, presentations at community council meetings and stakeholder meetings, and through 2 surveys and 2 interactive maps. And some of the things that we've heard from community members that are really important to them are improved crossings for pedestrians and dedicated bikeways. And I'll mention that this plan is a super important step in realizing these changes. So back to the timeline and how we're developing the plan. We're nearing the end of the 3rd phase right now, which includes sharing the draft plan, which is live on our website with the community, with you all for your feedback.
Great. So we want to hear from you all who are joining us live today. Have any of you participated in any of these phases? Have you seen us at an event? We want to know. Tell us in the comments below if you're a familiar face. We're also hearing that one of the comments that we heard from is safety is really important to folks as well. So Julia, next question for you is, can you tell us what's in the plan? If I look at this plan online, if I open this plan, what am I going to see?
Absolutely. There's a ton of stuff in this plan, and I encourage all of you to take a look at it on walkbikesmc.org and provide your comments directly on the plan. For now, I'll share that there are 3 kind of main types of recommendations in the plan. One is bicycle improvements to make it safer for those cycling, pedestrian improvements so that those that are walking can feel safer and more comfortable. And then finally, we have some support policy and program recommendations. The plan also includes guidance on how, as a county, we can begin to think about implementing the recommendations in the plan and how we can go about funding these recommendations.
Great, thanks, Julia. And for those of you who are just joining us, my name is Jackie. I'm here with my colleague Julia. We're chatting about the county's first ever active transportation plan for unincorporated areas of San Mateo County. We will be transitioning at 12:30 p.m. to a Spanish presentation, una presentación en español a las 2:30.
Thanks, Jackie. So talking about the bicycle recommendations in the plan, this image shows the types of bicycle facilities or bike lanes that you'll find in the plan. And generally the facilities go from providing the least amount of separation from vehicles on the top left to the most amount of separation from vehicles on the bottom right.
Got it. So how did you decide where to put bike facilities and the type of facility for each street?
Yeah, so the location of the facilities was really based on where community members told us they wanted to see bike facilities, in addition to where facilities have been proposed in previously adopted plans, like the countywide plan, the Caltrans state plan, and then also our technical analysis that was conducted that looked at where there were gaps in the bike network and where there are existing high stress facilities. And then the way we decide on the appropriate facility for each of these locations is by looking at how many cars drive on the roadway every day, how fast these cars are going, what's the posted speed limit, in other words, and then also trade-offs and community priorities. For instance, if we were to need to reallocate space on the roadway, taking away a lane of vehicle travel or a parking lane, would that be acceptable to community members?
Great. We're also seeing here in the comments that someone has already commented on the draft plan. So great. Thanks for being here today. Another question for you all who are tuning in. Take a look at the draft plan on Walk Bike SMC. We want to know what your thoughts and take a look at the website to find out where facilities are being proposed in your community and let us know what you think.
Awesome, thanks, Jackie. And I'll just point out that in this image, this is a snippet of the type of map that you'll find in the plan showing bicycle facilities. So the dotted lines are the ones where we're proposing new facilities. The legend is on the right-hand side there. And the solid lines are existing bike lanes and bike facilities.
So Julia, how about the pedestrian recommendations? What are those like?
Yeah, so the plan contains a lot of sort of general pedestrian recommendations, things we can do to make it safer and more comfortable for things such as dedicated walkways and sidewalks and marked crosswalks. You'll also find in the plan 11 location-specific recommendations that are meant to make it easier for pedestrians in those areas to get to where they want to go.
Awesome. And for those of you who are just joining us, again, my name is Jackie. I'm here with Julia chatting about the county's first ever active transportation plan for unincorporated areas of the county. So Julia, to continue the conversation, besides more bike lanes and crosswalks, what kinds of things are going to incentivize people to walk and bike? Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, I love this question, Jackie, because so far I've really been focused on sort of the physical changes that we can make to our streets to make it safer and more comfortable for people to walk and bike. But there are also a lot of things that we can do sort of behind the scenes to encourage walking and biking. Like open streets events, for example, which are events that close streets off to vehicles and allow people to walk and bike there and also participate in live entertainment and local business offerings. And then there are changes that we can make to the way that we work as a county to deliver projects faster. An example of this, which is shown in the image below, is the implementation of pilot or quick build projects, which use cheap materials and are built a lot faster than your typical permanent type of infrastructure.
Got it. So question for you all who are joining us, where would you like to see an open streets event in your community? What kind of event would you be most excited about? So Julia, I love what we've been talking about today. So much great information. How can people view the draft plan and provide feedback on it?
Yeah, great question and a really important one because we would love to hear everybody's feedback on the draft plan. And so I encourage you all to visit walkbikesmc.org if you haven't already. And what you can do on the website is first and foremost, read the draft plan and comment directly on it. It's an interactive PDF. And so you'll be able to see the comments that your friends and neighbors have left and respond to those or add your own comments. If you have additional questions that haven't been answered today, or you want to learn more about the plan, I encourage you all to join us this Saturday from 10 until 11:30 p.m. We're having a virtual pop-in event. So you can join at any time between that hour and a half period and leave whenever you like. And then finally, you'll be able to sign up for future updates about active transportation on walkbikesmc.org. And so you can learn about when this is going to the Board of Supervisors for adoption. We anticipate that being in early 2021. And we can also send updates about when we're going to be continuing to develop the projects that are recommended in this plan so that you can weigh in on sort of the more detailed designs at that point.
Great. I'm also seeing in the comments here that pedestrian safety is important to folks, as well as being able to walk on sidewalks with a stroller as well. So thanks for those of you who are commenting. Keep them coming, keep your questions coming. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts on the plan. And question for you all who are tuning in, other than email, how would you like to receive future active transportation project and program updates? So what ideas do you have there? Let us know in the comments below.
Thanks, Jackie.
So just wanted to thank you all who, for those of you who are tuning in. Julia, did you want to close us out on next steps?
Yeah, absolutely. So this public comment period that we're having on the draft plan will conclude on November 9th, which is, I believe, a Monday. And so please do weigh in on the draft plan before then. After that, we will be liaising as a team. The project team will get together and revise the draft plan so that it incorporates your comments in this phase. Then we will bring it to the Board of Supervisors, we think in January 2021, so that they can approve the plan. And from that point onward, it's implementation, which we'll be focused on. So, finding funding and developing the projects in more detail. We'll come back to you all to ask you about your thoughts in terms of the more specific designs for these projects. And we really look forward to continuing to collaborate with you all on this plan.
Great. I wanted to share with you all that the Office of Sustainability is on social media too. So feel free to connect with us on Instagram and Twitter at SustainSMC here on the screen. Feel free to post additional comments in the chat and questions. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thanks for all of you who have joined us today. We're going to switch over to the Spanish portion of this event in a couple of minutes. Feel free to stay tuned in if you like, or head to the plan website to check it out at walkbikesmc.org. In the meantime, Julia, I did have a question for you. Have we seen an increase in walking and biking since the beginning of shelter in place?
Yes, absolutely. Both anecdotally, we've heard from a lot of people in the community that they're seeing a lot of their friends and neighbors, and they themselves are walking and biking more often. In a large part, that's due to folks who are working from home. It's also, when we saw the closures of parks initially during shelter in place, people wanted to find ways to recreate close to home. So definitely we've been hearing folks sharing stories about walking and biking more in their neighborhoods. A lot of different data sets show that more people are walking and biking. I'll also note that we're beginning to see a spike in people driving right now because of folks' sort of reluctance to use public transit and the reduced service. And so it's really important that we that we try to encourage folks to walk and bike instead of drive so that we're not faced with a lot of traffic congestion, the type of traffic congestion that we're used to in the Bay Area. And so this plan is a really important step in making that happen.
Great. Thanks, Julia. Super important point. We did receive a comment in the comment boxes that folks would like to see more ADA improvements on crosswalks, especially near schools. So thank you for that comment, really important.
Absolutely. And I'll share that safe routes to school, oh, pardon me, Jackie. I'll just sneak in this, that safe routes to school improvements is a really important part of our plan. We've integrated the improvements that have been suggested in previous walk and roll audits from safe routes to school audits. And those are certainly priority improvements for us. And what we've heard from community members is it's a shared priority for a lot of people. So thank you. Thank you for mentioning that point.
Great. Well, thanks for all of you who are tuning in right now. We just wanted to let you know that we're about to switch over to the Spanish portion of this event. Feel free to stay tuned in if you like, or head to the website at walkbikesmc.org to share your comments directly on the plan. Feel free to follow us on social media at SustainSMC or email us at oos_walkbikesmc@smcgov.org. Thanks everybody so much for joining us. And thanks, Julia. This was super fun to chat with you today.
Thank you, Jackie. Yeah, it's been awesome.
All right, should we pause for a second, maybe go to the next screen here?
Absolutely.
Great. So we'll be right back.